All right, now we're going live. And we are live on Facebook. So, what's up, guys? Tim Bratz here. You guys know me. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Hope you're having a great week. I got my good buddy Mike Fallat here. Mike Fallat owns a company called Dream Starters Publishing, and he is a book creator. Like, he helps people create books. As simple as that sounds, as profound as that is, he helps people write books, and he has helped us with our little legacy library books, Think Big and Go to Baseball Camp, our first book. And he's been helping us through the process. He's been absolutely amazing and integral, and just kind of walking us through step by step of what we need to do in order to get started and get illustrators involved and write the book and get a designer involved, and then all the printing stuff we've been trying to figure out, the website and the ordering side of things, and how to get it on Amazon, and what the best ways, best price points, and all that kind of stuff to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about that stuff over the next 15, 20 minutes here. And Mike, dude, appreciate you being here, brother.
Hey, thanks for asking me, man. You have it right from the get-go. You have fun with this entire process. If you see anything about Dream Starters Publishing, it's all about like having fun with telling your story.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about how you thought of this idea. I think it was on an airplane coming
Yep.
home one day, and you're thinking, okay, I need to put a book out there for kids. And all of a sudden that idea turned into reality, and it is a journey. There's so much involved, and we try to keep it fun, but it was not hard with you. You know how much fun it is to finally, bring it to life.
Yeah.
Get ready for the Amazon bestseller push, to get it printed in many different fashions, because there's a couple different outlines you can go with, and
Mm-hmm.
a couple of things you can do and get it out in different markets. You did it the right way, and it's been an honor to work with you and your team and Aaron, and it's just so much fun. So thanks for inviting us on this journey with you.
Nah, appreciate it, man. It's I liken it to, it's like commercial real estate, right? Everybody thinks commercial real estate is this big, complex thing. I'm in it, so it's easy for me. I understand it. I know the language. I know the lingo. I understand the verbiage of everything and the processes. And it's like, it's common sense to me. And but from an outsider looking at commercial real estate, it's like, how do I even start, right? Like, where's the button that I even press? Like, I need an easy button. And that's what you guys do. You guys make it very, very easy. And although you're in it and you understand it, you're very good at kind of making it simplified, so an outsider can come in and say, hey, how do I write a book, Mike? And that's exactly what we did. So yeah, man, kudos to you for putting this thing together, the business that you guys have. And I think it's an amazing, amazing business.
Yeah, you work with a lot of great people. I guess the Joey Evangelistis, the Mark Evans. We've worked with a bunch of these type of guys who have a nonfiction how-to or a guidebook that we usually work with. And then whenever you come along with a kid's book, we've done a few of them. Yours is by far the most professional that we've ever seen. You definitely put a lot of heart into it. There's actually not just one takeaway. There's many takeaways within this book. And I guess this is going to be perfect for that father who is an entrepreneur who wants to teach their son how to start a business. And they might remember, there's the cat in a hat. You always think back to all these stories. What if that kid reads this book and then remembers it 15 years later and they said, oh, that's where I learned that lesson from.
Yep,
To never give up.
Yeah.
The idea of marketing, the idea of hiring a mentor, all of that.
Mm-hmm. And that's the goal, right? And you've heard statistics where our personalities, our behavioral patterns, and our mindsets are pretty much formed and solidified by the time we're 5 or 6 years old. And so I remember thinking about that for my daughter, like, how do I ingrain these principles, these thoughts, and these ideologies and philosophies into her early on? Hey, whether she's an entrepreneur or she wants to be a ballet dancer, like, it doesn't matter. I just want her to be her best, right?
Right.
I want her to never leave anything on the table, always put forth her, it doesn't have to be, she doesn't have to be the best, just be her best, right? And just, and not just do her best, but be and encompass it, and always in everything. How you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Right.
So that's what really the principle and the concepts in this book series is about. And hopefully, if we can help a couple people plant those seeds, and eventually over time, they grow and they sprout and they end up cultivating over time and turn into something amazing, in a kid's philosophy, and they start a business at the age of 12, or they start a business at the age of 14, they become multimillionaire by the time they're 20, and they're able to give back and do a lot of cool stuff. Like that would be the ultimate testimonial for me.
I always wondered where I would be if instead of reading Huckleberry Finn or something in school that The Lord of the Flies, I mean, they're all great fictional books. There's no doubt about it. They're great. But what would have happened to me if I would have picked up a kid's version of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or how to influence and win friends and influence people? What would have happened to me back then? And I'm thinking to myself, what about even a kid's book going back to like this age, 5, 6, 7 years old? It really would have maybe changed me even more. And maybe I would have started a business when I was 17, not 23. And it just taught me so much. So, you know, there's a lot of people out there that say they want to write a book. There's a lot of people out there say, oh, I can't wait to write a kid's book someday. You actually did it, and you did it at a high level.
Now it's cool, right? You don't always make a lot of money from books, right? And that's pretty standard across the industry. But what it does is, like the kids' books especially, it's an impact piece. You know, Mark Evans' book, Magician versus Mule, it's an impact piece. He's making a big difference. And what happens is all of a sudden your name's on a book. So now you're seen as an expert in your field, in whatever field that is. And then there's potentially other opportunities, right? Like a lot of the people who are going to be reading these books are entrepreneurs. They're executives in companies. They're success-oriented individuals that have kids, and they want to instill these principles in their kids. And who knows, could turn into somebody I do a deal with. I might buy a deal. They might sell me a deal. I might sell a deal to them. They might want to passively invest together. Maybe there's another business that they're looking to launch, and I can invest in their project. So it's kind of cool that I don't know what could come from it, but I'm sure there's going to be things that it creates over the course of time. And I'm sure you see that with everybody who writes books, right? So there's a little bit of an investment. I mean, although, you know, to have you guys come in and you guys do it. So just so you guys know, I didn't write them because Kate and Aaron will kill me if I tell you that I wrote them. I did not write them. I gave them the principles that needed to be instilled in the books and conveyed in each one of the stories. And then they came up with their own storyline. And then I came in and kind of tweaked some stuff, added some stuff. And we just went back to the drawing board a couple times. So they actually wrote the book, and then we had our illustrators come in and illustrate it. And then Mike came in and helped us kind of put it together with the printing and the publishing side and all that different kind of stuff. And came in and helped us out with the mechanics of actually getting it launched. But if somebody wants to write like a nonfiction book, and let's say that they're an expert at roofing, or they're an expert at, I don't know, brokering commercial real estate or raising private money or whatever, and they want to write a book on that, you guys will actually just hop on a phone with them, interview them for a few hours, and then put it to paper and actually write the book for them, right?
That's exactly right. So if you look at all the big books out there, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, as I spoke about, obviously The Art of the Deal, these guys are multimillionaires. The last thing they have time for is to sit down and write a book. Everybody wants to write a book, but okay, if these people have all this money, why would they sit down and actually type things out? They don't. They hire people who bring it to life in a professional manner. It is their stories and their lessons, but the writer who sits down and just tweaks the words, that's someone else. What I did was I streamlined that entire process. Rather than 6 to 9 months of an interview process, we do it in 4 hours, 2 hours one day and 2 hours another day. It's based off of 15 generic lessons you want to teach your audience and incorporating 15 stories of how you learn those lessons. So you just brought up about insurance brokerage or commercial property or Mark Evans' book. These people are teaching something. In order for them to really hit home with it, they also have to say how they learned that lesson. And so we do that for people in real estate, in sales, and motivation. And I think you nailed it with, yes, you will put this book out there. You will be perceived as the expert. The opportunities that come along with having a book will far outweigh the sales that you'll make on the front end. So what happens to some of our clients is that they get picked up to become a speaker, and one of which is right here, Nick Santanastasso, who shares the stage with Tony Robbins. And so what comes from having a book now, you can give this to people in the crowd. You can give it to people on a podcast. You can give it to people who just sign up in a certain amount of time for it's a time sensitive offer. And now you can use this as a way to make sales somewhere else with a course, with a program, with business opportunities. And then the sky is the limit. So the book is the key to get people to fall in love with who you are, your lessons and your stories. You build a relationship up with them. And then what comes from that is really dependent on how well you do with marketing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's better than what's a better credibility piece than being like, oh, you want to know about commercial real estate? Oh, you want to know about insurance sales? Well, guess what? I wrote the book on it. Here's a guy, like, holy cow, that's pretty profound.
This is the guy that wrote the book on how to sell your house.
Yeah.
Get this guy compared to the other guy who
Yeah.
didn't write a book. Now you're going to say, well, not everybody reads books. Of course, not everybody reads books. 95% of all books are not read cover to cover. But what makes you stand out? Is that the commitment level of getting a book done? Mm-hmm. Or is it even, saying that you're the expert? I think it's more of a sign of commitment that you finished a book. It's on Amazon. It's a bestseller. You put time into something that most people on this planet say they want to accomplish, but do not. And so if you can get that one thing out of the way, you're obviously one level higher than the person without a book.
One of the things that I've realized since I got into like the education and coaching type space is you cannot have loose systems, loose ideas, loose whatever, right? Like you have to have your shit dialed in because somebody will call you out on it otherwise. And it's made me a better real estate investor and a better operator in what I do because I created a coaching platform that I needed to make sure what had every T crossed and every I dotted. So I think a lot of people, if you don't go through that, you don't understand that. But I have a ton of respect for somebody who writes a book because they had to really think about this stuff and really reflect. And some of the most successful people I know are the most reflective people that I know. And they think about situations. They're socially aware. They're personally aware. And I think you need to have that if you're writing an actual book. You're thinking about how other people are going to perceive this information. And it makes you your own critic in a good way and really refining your information. So like if somebody does write a book, I believe them more because I know that they actually put some effort and thought into, what their systems or what their information is that they're trying to convey.
Great point. People think that the book is the last piece, right? They think, oh, when I'm a billionaire, let me write a book so I can give back. Really what a book does, you nailed it. If you write a book, it clears your head. It basically gets you in such a focused manner that you are now knowing where you're going with your life. You know how you're going to say it. You know so much about it because you've already thought about it 1,000 times. And so for you to put it out there, it's basically maybe simplifying your life because you know what you stand for. Maybe it's your message. Maybe it's what's the real takeaway? What's the lesson that I really want people to remember from this? And so for you to actually think about it, verbalize it, communicate it, put it down in written form, and then share it and have the confidence in sharing it with the world, it does something to you. And then when you get up on stage or wherever if you get on a podcast, you are way more dialed in, like you said.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that, man. So let's talk about the process. So somebody wants to write a book. I know, one of the things I had the girls on I think Sunday or something, we did a Facebook Live with Kate and Aaron. And they talked about like, Aaron had to dive in and look at the fundamentals of plot lines and storylines and rises and falls and climaxes and, all that different kind of stuff.
She looked that up. She actually researched that?
She actually researched that.
Oh my God.
For kids' book.
Man, and she's a machine. Yeah, she is a machine.
She's sharp. And so they go through that whole process. And so they look at the actual mechanics of writing a fiction. I mean, technically it's a fictional story, but they're real life principles. It's nonfiction principles that are being conveyed through a fictional story. And so she understood the storyline and all the mechanics that come with that. If somebody wants to write a book and put it what would be the first step that you tell them, hey, here's the first thing that you got to do?
First step for people who are putting together a nonfiction book, a how-to or a guidebook would be, how are you going to use this when it's done? Think about yourself a year from now or 5 years from now. Where are you going to make most of your money? Now work your way back and say, okay, if I want to be that person, what do I have to share with people? And then you break that down into, and this is the foundation of every book. What are the 15 lessons that you've learned in your life that you want the world to know? 15 lessons. And these are generic lessons. Oh, well, if you want to build a business, get around the right people. Great. So, okay, there's that. understand personal development, get into a habit of doing something every day. Perfect. That's great. How about then you do this? So these three little things, four things, these could be the most generic lessons. But guess what? Everyone's kind of saying the same stuff. What makes you different is the story behind the lesson. So now that you have these 15 generic lessons, these are the foundational principles of who you are. That's all written down in a bullet point list. Now you can either write it down or just think about it. How did I learn these lessons? And it could be as simple as, having vision. My first book is called Dream Starter, the startup business guide for the diehard entrepreneur. I thought about things like, well, you got to have vision. You got to keep things simple. I have to understand demand. Think about how basically low level that is. But once you realize business development, you're like, well, you got to have vision. You got to keep things simple. You got to understand demand. And then how did I learn that? Oh, well, my first business was a colossal failure because of this, this, and this. So the reader is going to say, I understand a little bit more about vision because he lost a lot of money here. He did this and he did this. Oh my God, he did something just like what I'm doing right now or I was about to do. And now you build this relationship up with the reader. So just break it down into where you're going. What do you want to teach people? And then what are the stories that really shown you how important those lessons are?
Yeah. Love that. Because a lot of people are like, well, what am I going to call it? Right. Like that's the last thing that you do.
The last.
Like,
that is absolutely
last, right. So what I love about that is like, you don't get to a destination unless you figure out what the destination is first. And then you can create the roadmap in order to get there. That's one of the founding principles of like everything that I do of my coaching. Whenever somebody comes to me with a question, I was like, dude, what's the goal? Right. Let's talk about the goal. And then what's the biggest hurdle, the biggest roadblock to you getting to that destination? And then we can figure out how to overcome it and get you to that goal, that destination a little bit faster.
The rest is all marketing, right? So marketing is not what you get behind. Marketing is what you use to get there. So you're saying to yourself, okay, if this is where you're going, what's going to get me there? Some people write a book and then when it's written, it's done. They're like, all right, so how am I going to use this? Now you're screwed up because now you might pigeonhole yourself and saying, well, because it's written this way, I got to use it this way. And now you might hurt yourself that way.
One of the, I remember reading one of Robert Kiyosaki's books and somebody comes up to him and they're like, and she's like a literary, whatever, English teacher or something. And she comes up and she's like, I'm so impressed that you became a best-selling author. How did you learn to write? How did you learn how to convey your thoughts and all these things so well? And how did you, where did you go to school for that? He goes, listen, I don't know how to write. He goes, I know how to sell. I'm not a best writing author. I'm a best selling author. And she was like it's an art to some people, right? When you write books. And so if somebody who's an artist hears that, they're almost like offended, right? And she was offended and she walked away super upset. But it's such an amazing point, right? It's not about how well the book is written. It's about how well it sells. And obviously it's going to sell better if you have a great content and great writing style and great stories. And you're conveying a great message. But at the end of the day, it's about best-selling author, right? That's what gets the accolades. It's not the best writing author.
That's exactly right. How it's marketed, how you put it all together. It's the bestseller that gets all the accolades. And so if it doesn't become a bestseller and it's the best written book, you might be really proud of it. You might go to sleep and say, man, I really did a great job. But if it doesn't help you in your mission or with your business, and a lot of people see it or hear about it, then it's a waste of time. And you have to feel that somewhere in your life. You have to say, okay, I made a mistake. But if you use it the right way, and it might not be perfect. Remember, this is the thing that people say, oh, I don't want to do it until it's perfect. You are going to be so screwed up because a year from now, guaranteed, Tim, you're going to read your book and you're going to say, man, you know what? I should have put this sentence in there, or I should have said it this way.
I'm already doing it, man.
It's human nature to want to perfect it. But what's they say is done is better than perfect. And if it's close to being perfect, and if you could say to yourself, this is going to help. This is going to help me. This is going to help other people. This is going to help a lot of people. It might not be 100% perfect. Perfection is subjective, so that's always going to change. But once it's done and you use it, it's like this tool. And a tool that's not built the right way or not finished, it's not going to help you. So eventually you might say, my second book needs to have this. And I'm telling you, the more you put out there, we've done over 200 books. we can see things right away that we didn't early on, and we know what works and what doesn't work. And you'll see that after you put out this first book. Oh man, my second book can be another chess move here. Let me put this, now let me build it based off of this principle. And then they're going to say, Tim Bratz, he wrote a book on this. And that's different than this first book. But for our audience, this second book's perfect. Let's get him on our podcast.
Love it, man. I love it. So figuring out what the long-term play is, what the vision is, what you want to accomplish by getting the book. And then, I mean, next step is essentially calling you or somebody like you who can help you write the book, right? You don't have to sit down and dedicate months or years of your life to actually writing this book. I mean, legitimately, you said, what was it, 4 hours, two-hour phone calls?
Yeah, 2 hours one day.
Ghostwriters. Yeah, and the ghostwriters are able to extract enough information from your story that I'm sure is being recorded, and then they go and develop that into an actual book, right?
That's right. So we do it all via Zoom. This is done via Zoom, just like this. There's some type of magic and face-to-face interaction.
Sure.
However, a face-to-face interaction where you're in person is not as good as Zoom, because Zoom is, hey, I got 2 hours. This is my window. I'm focused. Here we go. There's no distractions. If you go somewhere for coffee and all that, you got all kinds of crazy distractions. It's way better with Zoom. It's better than a phone call because you want this face-to-face. There's something that's done with face-to-face.
That's personality, right? You get the mannerisms, and I'm sure they get that from me and me conveying the excitement and the passion and stuff, you know, where you can't get that on a phone.
You can't get that. And then here's what happens. So I do the interview, and my whole goal is to keep it, simple, casual, have a conversation so you're comfortable. I mean, you see, well, I'm not in a suit and tie. I don't want you to feel like you're being graded in school. I want you to be comfortable whenever you talk with me. So once we do the interview, I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to say, Tim, you talked about this story with your dad here. Can you tell me a little bit more about this, that day? And tell me a little bit about how you felt here. So all you're doing is just kind of having a heart-to-heart conversation. Sometimes you say things that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about that. But this is what happened afterwards. And whenever you tell me that, okay, we capture that. It's the stories, it's the lessons, it's how you say it, it's the mannerisms. Once that's all done, that recording goes to a writer. I have 5 main writers. They're all women. You know this because Aaron and Kim, right?
Kate. Yep.
They're the ones who wrote most of it or all of it, put it together. Women are better writers. So that's why I have 5 main writers. They're all women. One of them's going to listen to it and watch you. And then we're going to bring it to life in a professional manner. So we're watching you. I'm doing the interview, but the person who's actually writing it will watch you and say, okay, I see his personality. I see what he's trying to do here. We try to nail it right from the get-go. It's built off of a 4-hour conversation. So whenever we write this book, we're going to get it as close to as perfect as possible based off the interview, but it is not supposed to be 100% dialed in just yet. So we send the book, which is 120 pages, 20,000 words on average, which is about an hour and a half read. Now we send it back to you in a Word document for you to read your own book. Some people will get that book and read it in 2 hours, make corrections, send it back, and then we go to the upload process. Some people take 2 weeks, some people take a month. It all depends on your schedule and how desperate you are to get this book out there. But this painting is built off of 4 hours. So you might say, you know what, this sentence is pretty close, but I don't say it this way. I say it this way. So now it's time for you to go in and really adjust it to how you speak in real life or what you want it to say. Exactly. It's a lot easier to edit something than to create from the ground up. So our job is to make it easy. So we do all the heavy lifting.
Cool. Now, love it, man.
Once that's done, send it back to us. We send you 25 cover designs, title, subtitle. I help you out with all that. Nice and easy. Books written, upload to Amazon, and then I guide you from there. But you get a Kindle version and a printed book. So you think that there's this real complicated procedure to getting a printed book. There's not. Jeff Bezos has changed the game, but you can use that one strategy, or you can go in a different strategy after the Amazon process, like you're doing with your book, with third-party printers, free plus shippings, all these cool things that you can take your book and use it for. So it's step 1 is Amazon. Step 2 is, okay, how are you going to use this? And I'll show you how the best way.
And it's amazing what Amazon's done is how making it so simple, specifically for paperback books, right? They're not the best for hardcover, but they're really, really good for paperback books, where all you do is, you create it into a PDF, you kind of upload it, they approve it. I think, what does it take them, a week or something?
It takes a day or 2 days. If it's done perfect, but sometimes they say, whoa, this spine text needs a little bit of adjustment, so it might be 3-4 days.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's good to go. And then you upload it, you create the Kindle version. That's easy, and that can take a day or two to do. And then what's amazing is you don't need to buy a bunch of inventory. Now, we did, because we have all the hardcover version of our book, which is just better for the kids and stuff. And so I did buy a bunch of copies, but what's great is I'm not warehousing it. I'm not the one receiving these invoices and then mailing it all out. There are distribution centers that do all this, that actually print, they hold the inventory, and then they mail it out to the buyers of the books. Exactly. So even if you don't want to pay Amazon their overhead, which I think if you're first getting started is absolutely worth it. For us, we just have a little bit different of an animal. And so it just made more sense for us to buy them in bulk, get a deeper discount on the books, sell them through our own website, littlelegacylibrary.com, and then let them kind of handle the distribution from there. So, but I mean, it's really like that simple, right? Like, you got to create an Amazon, what is it, a KDP account or something. And then you got to do, there's a couple different nuances, but it's really not that complicated, guys.
It's easy. What people are probably wondering, why the heck would I do anything else other than Amazon? Well, you just talked about overhead. Really, what Amazon does is print on demand. What that means is, we uploaded this book and we ordered one copy, and you can buy one copy for the minimum is like $4 or $5. So $3 or $4 of that is printing. And then they have like a little markup on it. So they're going to make $4 or $5 every time you get it printed through them. Now, that sounds like it's a great deal, but if you're buying 100 or more than that, that's not a great deal. So it's all based off of how many are you ordering. And so if you go to a third-party printer, they're going to say, okay, you're going to order 100 and we can keep it in our warehouse. Well, it's going to be $2 per copy. So you get a much better deal. You just have to put more money up front. And so you got to weigh those options. My first thing is just get it up on Amazon, see what happens. And then if you want, there's always those third-party printers and shippers that will take care of all that for you. And you're working with some big names. The same guy who's printing your book is basically the same guy who does the Russell Brunson, the Garrett Whites. Oh, really? Yeah. So big names.
No wonder he's not responding to my email. No, just kidding. He's been super responsive.
He's the man.
Yeah. I should actually, I think I might be interviewing him also.
Mike Fredericks. Shout out to Mike Fredericks.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's one of my Facebook buddies, and I got to get him on here too, and just talk about that printing process, because he's a rock star and his team's super responsive and been super easy to work with.
The best. There really is. I mean, we've done this for 5 years. He is the best. You will meet a lot of flakes if you go the wrong route with books. People who are all talkers, they don't own the company. They're BSers. This guy owns the company, the real deal, all the way through.
Yep. You know what it's kind of like working with like you guys is, dude, you've already been through all the bad printers. You've already been through all the bad publishers. You've already been through all the bad ghostwriters. You've already been through all the bad, you've already dealt with all the bad stuff. That's like me in real estate, right? Like, I've already been through all the bad contractors, agents, insurance companies, CPAs, all that different stuff. And when you come out like to my coaching event, dude, you fast track 12 years of shitty people and shitty dealings, right? In order to all of a sudden dude, what took me 12 years to do, somebody else could do in 18, 24 months, because they already have all my resources and all my knowledge and all that. Like, it's like the same thing with you guys. You've already been through all of it, so you know who everybody is. It's like, dude, are you gonna go try to do your own taxes for your business? Or why not just hire a CPA that pays for themselves 10 times over, because they know what to look for, right? They're experienced, they know what's up. So like, it just helps working with professionals, because you can go back to doing what you're good at. They're going to do it in less time than it would take me to do it anyways, because it's not something I'm comfortable or know what I'm doing. And I'm going to fail forward. I'm going to fumble and fall on my face. by screwing up and hiring the wrong people, wasting time, wasting money. Dude, your connections alone have been remarkable for us. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and thanks, man. And so you focus on your strengths, and you know that you're a talker. You can make connections. You can find deals. You can find you shouldn't be doing stuff that might take you hours, days, or weeks of like an investment that you might only care about this one time. You know what I mean? Like, why would you invest if you're going to be doing it over and over and over and over? Maybe, but still you focus on your strengths. And that's the whole thing. My business did not start to work well until it's like, okay, I'm not doing any more formatting. I'm going to have to hire someone to do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to take care of that. And so you might have to give up some money for that, but guess what? Now you have all this time that you could focus on your strengths. You probably do the exact same thing with your business.
100%, man. So, it's 4:15. I got to jump off. I have another podcast I'm going to jump on, but here's the thing. If you guys are interested in obviously little legacy library, hop on. I think we've already sold like 250 books, or like we're right around there in
Amazing.
Just the weekend. We haven't even like really done any marketing or anything, just off of some social media stuff. So first of all, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Anything that I can do, please let me know. We're going to officially launch, I think, on Amazon on Friday is kind of the game plan here. And then from there, if somebody wants to write their book, how do they get a hold of you? And by the way, guys, most of these companies that do what Mike does is like $25,000 to $50,000 to have a book written. And how much do you charge?
$10,000 right now.
10 for now, right?
So, yeah. When we started this whole thing, I was in like an abandoned building. I was doing it for $2,500, everything myself. I was writing, I was cover design, I was editing.
Yeah.
Girl I was dating was double checking the editing. So now we're a little bit different, but yeah, $10,000, $5,000 down, $5,000 upon completion.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's unbelievable that you guys can do it for that. So, and these are professionals handling it for you, right? So like you just hop on a phone call, let them do all the work. You have the best business card in the entire world for $10,000, and you can use that for the rest of your life and get a couple speaking gigs, raise a little bit of capital, get some students, mentor, coach, consulting, whatever. Look at that. It's amazing. So good stuff, brother. Where's the best place for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah. Go to my website, www.dreamstarterspublishing.com, or you can find me on Instagram at the Dreamstarter, or you can always call me 412-496-9448.
I think I saw that on the inside of a bathroom stall at a gas station once. That phone, that's not different phone number, same one.
Shit, that's still there. That son of a bitch.
No, but seriously, give Mike a call. He's an absolute rock star, and he's gonna be handling my business book too. So I want to get that out. Try to get that out before the end of the year. But we're working on all this stuff, and I'm moving to Charleston and all those other things. So. Okay. I'm one of those guys who like sends it to you. You guys send it to me, and I need like 2 months to read through it.
That usually happens for people who have a lot going on. So I understand.
So awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for all your help with Little Legacy Library. And if there's anything I can do for you, obviously you know where to find me, bro.
You got it, man. Thank you very much for everything. And guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here for you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you guys later.